Welcome, everybody. Episode 48 of In Hindsight. Welcome back to the channel. It's Monday. We all know what day that is. I think for really in general, it's always the worst day of the week. But for us Steeler fans, and even just really football fans, we all kind of know what day this is. If you guys missed my last episode, it is on the channel. It was from this past Saturday. And it was really just me kind of just talking about Big Ben's career, the things he accomplished, some of my favorite moments, memorable moments of his throughout his career too. And it was just kind of a celebration of those things is kind of how I like to, look at it, view it. So if you guys are interested in listening to that and you missed it, that is on the channel. And it will be uploaded to Spotify too. If I know that when I kind of look at the numbers, I know some people will kind of tune into Spotify over YouTube, but so that'll be coming. But I just felt like as a fan of his, man, and as a Steeler fan, it was something I needed to do, and it's something I wanted to do. And it actually definitely was probably one of my favorite podcasts, and I love the thumbnail, too, of it. But check that out, guys, if you missed it. Always thank you for taking the time out of your day to tune in. Doesn't matter for how long, 1 minute, the full show, I don't know. But it always means a lot to me, so thank you. Thank you all. And so hopefully you're having a good Monday, good start to your week. Hopefully we all know how garbage Mondays are. But anyway, pretty much this isn't going to be a long show. I'm kind of planning on the show to go for about 15, 20 minutes. But with it being Monday, I kind of want to just talk about, everything coming out of yesterday for the NFL and kind of how the playoff picture's sitting at, who's still in it, who's been eliminated. And I am going to go over my end of the season award predictions for each individual, the individual awards. I kind of wanted to get into that briefly. So that's really what this is going to be about. I didn't want to do too long of a show. I got some things I got to do today too. But that's what that's going to be about. So let's just kind of get right into it. So the current playoff picture, let me pull it up here so I don't mess up any seedings. Let's see here. Now watch, it's going to be a freaking pain in the ass to find this. You watch. Okay, here we go. So we got, Tennessee with their win over Miami. They took over the number 1 seed, and it's actually impressive, I think, what Tennessee's kind of been able to do without Derrick Henry. Deonta Foreman, has kind of filled in nicely for them. And they're being able to find some ways to win still, and I think Derrick Henry is supposed to come back come playoff time, that he should be cleared from what I've seen. And if he does, that's definitely a watch-out thing for Tennessee. Tennessee's done a good job these last few years, I think, in regards to really kind of cementing themselves as the top dog in the AFC South. Matt Vrabel, I think, has done a really good job at really kind of helping turning the team around and getting them to a winning level of consistency. So with them currently sitting at the 1 seed and Kansas City losing to Cincinnati, they'll drop Kansas City to the 2. Bengals with their win officially clinched the AFC North, which they definitely deserved it. The AFC North honestly was very up and down this season, really for all 4 teams, but Cincinnati, I think really kind of the second half of the season, definitely played the most consistent football. They definitely have a good future ahead of them. They're kind of transcending into really what they've been building for the last 6 years or so. So they're really young. They got a lot of talent on the offense, and so they finally kind of got those things clicking toward the second half of the season on a more consistent basis, because they were kind of up and down too in the back end, or the kind of beginning part of the year. So they're treading in that right direction now. Buffalo, New England, that is not decided yet in terms of the AFC East. Now, Buffalo, regardless if they win next week, they cannot get the 1 seed. But if New England wins, they could still get the 1 seed. They would just need teams like Kansas City and Tennessee to lose. But anyway, that's the 4 currently. New England's sitting at 5. They clinched a playoff spot already, just a matter of who wins the division. Indianapolis, they did lose to the Raiders. They're sitting at 6 currently, and the Chargers are sitting at the 7 seed. Sitting at, well, hold on. Is this updated? Hold on. Why is Indianapolis sitting at, hold on. I don't think that's the correct playoff picture. I do not think that is. Or maybe it is. Hold on, folks. Odd. Hold on. Yeah, you go on NFL.com and they can't freaking load the playoff picture. Okay, here we go. Okay, so the Colts, so that is correct. So the Colts are 6. The last graphics I saw, for some reason the Raiders were the 6, but they are. So the Colts, they did lose to the Raiders. They're sitting, Indianapolis is sitting at 9-7, the 6th seed. The Chargers are the 7th seed currently. So that's the current playoff spot. Now, for the AFC, the 2 teams still in the hunt is the Raiders, Baltimore, and the Steelers. Those are the only 3 teams left that still have a chance to get in. Cleveland, with the Chargers winning yesterday, Cleveland, Denver, and Miami were all eliminated. So, really how this is looking, Tennessee, if they win next week, they'll be the 1. If they lose, Kansas City wins, Kansas City will be the 1. If Tennessee or Kansas City both lose, and New England wins, and wins the division, New England could be the 1. I don't think Cincinnati could. But what's really interesting is the Chargers, is that the Chargers and the Raiders are Sunday Night Football. That's going to be you win, you're in, you lose, you're out. That's going to be that type of game. So that's actually going to be really interesting. Now, I give a lot of credit to the Raiders here because they've had really what's happened that season for them, or this season for them, is insane. And so just the fact that they didn't give up, they stuck together, you know, they kept finding ways to win games is very impressive. Absolutely. And I personally feel bad for Derek Carr. Derek Carr is, I want to say, an above average to good quarterback, really kind of throughout his career. I think maybe a little bit underrated. And the Raiders have just never really done anything to really help elevate him and build a winning team around him. So if the Raiders got in, good on them. I don't have a problem with the Raiders. I don't. But now for the Steelers to get in, for the Raiders to get in, they got to beat the Chargers, plain simple. For the Steelers to get in, they play Cleveland tonight, and they play Baltimore next week. In Baltimore. They got to win out, and they got to have the Colts lose to Jacksonville to get in. That's the only way they can get in. With Baltimore, they're sitting at 8-8. I believe they would need the Colts. They would need to win next week, obviously, to get to 9-8. But they would need the Colts to lose, and they would need, let me see here. They would need the Colts to lose, and I think they would either need the Chargers or the Raiders to lose. I'm not sure who. So regardless, the Ravens and the Steelers need help. Aside from winning out, they would need help from 1 or 2 other teams. The Raiders, you win, you get in. Same with the Chargers. Now let's go over to the NFC. Green Bay officially clinched the number 1 seed. Green Bay had a fantastic year. Their defense I think was a little bit better than what I thought. Aaron is just unbelievable. The Rams officially moved into the 2 seed, and the Cardinals did clinch a playoff spot against the Cowboys. The Eagles clinched a playoff spot with their win against Washington. But Tampa Bay's sitting at the 3 seed. Dallas is sitting at the 4. Cardinals 5. Currently, I mean, the Niners are the 6 seed currently. The Saints are the last team that's in the hunt. And Philly clinched. So it's going to come down to the Saints and San Francisco for that last wild card spot. I believe San Francisco just wins, they're in. And the Saints, I think they need San Francisco to win, and they need to win to get in. But the NFC West is not... what am I saying? The NFC West hasn't been decided. Buccaneers won the South. Cowboys obviously won the East. Packers won the North. So, depending how next week goes, the Cardinals, I believe, would need the Rams to lose, and then the Cardinals got to win their game to win the West. I don't know who the Rams or the Cardinals are playing. Oh, no, I think the Cardinals play Seattle. I'm not sure who the Rams are playing. I'd have to kind of Google that, but I don't feel like doing that. So, that's currently how it's sitting. So, it's a lot more kind of narrow and much more clear of a picture than in the AFC conference. But if I'm going to predict how I think this is going to pan out, I do think Tennessee is going to get the number 1 seed. I think they're going to win next week. And with Derrick Henry coming back, they're going to get that extra week off, and that's going to be big for them. Kansas City will be the 2. Cincinnati, I don't know. I think Kansas City is going to be the 2. And let me look at who the Bills in New England play. Are they playing each other? They might be playing each other. I don't know. Let me see. Okay, Bills are playing the Jets. I'm assuming New England plays Miami. So, I expect Buffalo to probably be the 4 and beat the Jets. I expect New England to beat Miami and be the 5. Indianapolis, I don't see losing to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think Indy will get it done. They'll be the 6. And I think the 7 seed, I think the Chargers will beat the Raiders to be the 7 seed. Well, it's in Vegas, too. Actually, I'm going to say the Raiders get in, man. I'm going to say the Raiders defeat the Chargers at home on Sunday night to get into the playoffs. I do. And the Chargers will just fall short. Now, the Chargers are a team like Cincinnati who, though the Chargers haven't been, like, rebuilding kind of like the Bengals kind of were, the Chargers still need some pieces to really elevate themselves, but they're on the right path. And next year could really be that leap, I think, for them. So, with that being said, obviously the Ravens and the Steelers don't make the playoffs. As a Steeler fan, I would like to see them make it simply because of just it kind of really being Ben's final year. At the same time, if they don't, I feel like that brings more urgency to the team, right? But that's my prediction there. Now, coming out of the AFC, I do think Kansas City will find its way back to the Super Bowl again, and here's why. Do I want to see that happen? No, I don't. We all know Kansas City is the current, kind of dynasty, and they're going to be that for a while. But I think seeing a team like Tennessee with Henry back, even though I don't like the Bengals, they're fun to watch on offense. I don't really care to see Kansas City get back, but Kansas City's been playing, aside from Green Bay, as the best team in football these last 8 or 9 games, man, and they just completely turned ship around. So I think Kansas City will get back there for the 3rd straight season, which is pretty remarkable. But they've done, obviously having Mahomes there, but they've done a really good job at rebuilding that offensive line very quickly, and really that defense coming together the last 8-9 weeks. And obviously these last 3 years, they've done a really good job at building their team. So I think Kansas City gets back, though. I think we see, coming out of the NFC, I think Green Bay gets the Super Bowl. I think it's going to be the 1 versus the 2. Green Bay's going to get back. I know Green Bay's always losing in the NFC title game, but I really like where Green Bay's defense has kind of been throughout this year compared to previous years, and Aaron's just playing at an unreal level again. And their offensive line, I think, is a little bit better than previous years, too. But I do want to say a couple teams I think could be maybe sleeper teams. I think the Colts in the AFC could be. I like their defense. Jonathan Taylor obviously should get some MVP consideration. And I definitely think for all these teams in the AFC, I think that they can definitely play with all of them. You know what I mean? When I look at all of them, I think just for kind of a dark horse, I think the Colts could really be that. Looking at the NFC as a dark horse team, I would say maybe Dallas. Their defense is a lot. Their defense really grew a lot this year and really took its step forward compared to how their defense has been the last X amount of years. And Dak being back, had a nice season coming back. They can put up points. I like that. Now, Tampa Bay, not having Godwin, obviously the Antonio Brown situation was absolutely insane. I never saw anything like that in my life watching football. That was absolutely crazy on Sunday. If you guys saw that, you know what I'm talking about. But I would say the Cowboys is kind of a sleeper team going in the playoffs. But I'm saying Chiefs, Packers, Super Bowl. But, you just got to give, credit where credit's due to some of these teams, man. And, well, any team that gets in the playoffs, obviously. But the NFC this year, it was so clear and cut in terms of, who was going to, win their division, the NFC. Very clean cut in that conference. And you could kind of see the writing on the wall for the playoff teams. For the AFC, really all this season long, it was almost like every team can kind of play with everybody. And there wasn't really a clear-cut team up until, I guess, really Kansas City kind of started turning it around. But it seemed like anyone could really beat anyone in the AFC, man. And there wasn't, we usually have those teams in the AFC, those 2 or 3 teams where it's like, these guys are kind of cream the crop in the AFC, and then you kind of have your tier 2 teams. But this year, there wasn't really any definitive team that really set itself apart in terms of being a great team. It was kind of like, all right, we kind of have an abundance of teams that are good, but we don't have any really clear-cut, teams. So I think come the AFC playoffs, I think in playoff time anything can happen, but I think with AFC playoffs, I think anybody can beat anybody, and that'll be interesting to watch. But it's crazy how fast the NFL season's gone, man, and it always does. It always does. It's a short season, sadly. I still don't really care for the 17th game. I don't like that odd number in terms of records, but it is what it is. So I'm interested to see the playoffs, and as a Steeler fan, regardless if we get in or not, dude, I just want to enjoy these final 2 games with Big Ben and just really enjoy what we've had for 18 years. And it's going to be emotional tonight. But I am picking the Steelers to beat the Browns. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I think Ben plays a good game. Everybody's motivated to play for him, man. I think the defense will ball out too as well, and the Steelers will get the win in Ben's final home game at Heintz Field. So it's going to be emotional. I'm very excited as a fan, and I just want to celebrate him and just enjoy him this final ride, man. I am looking forward to the offseason as a Steeler fan simply because we haven't had an offseason like this. Obviously, it's going to be very interesting in terms of what they do. They finally have a lot of money to work with. They're probably going to extend a couple guys. I expect them to make some moves, and we'll see what happens with quarterback. That's the most interesting. But in terms of, let me transition into my yearly awards here. So I think Aaron's going to win the MVP. I've seen people advocate for Jonathan Taylor, which I understand. He's kind of been the single-handed man in terms of offense on Indianapolis and kind of getting them to where they are. And I agree that he should definitely get consideration. But why I don't say he should win MVP is because we've seen some guys in the past who had better seasons than him, like a Derrick Henry, even Adrian Peterson back in 2012, and he won MVP that year, and look at the season he put up. It easily surpasses what Jonathan Taylor's doing. And Derrick Henry, this couple seasons he put up where he should have been in MVP conversation, surpassed what Jonathan Taylor did, and that's why I don't think Jonathan Taylor is going to win. I think Jonathan Taylor, he'll definitely be first-team All-Pro. He's had a phenomenal leap from year 1 to 2. And he's definitely got a great future. But I think in terms of that, that's why I don't think he's going to get it. But if I have to give you 3 guys in my MVP race, Aaron, I think, is number 1. I think Aaron Rodgers will win MVP. He's been absolutely dominant. When you look at every single metric of his, it's unbelievable. And at 38 years old, he's still just doing this as if he's still in his prime. Maybe you can say he still is. I don't know. But he's unbelievable, man. And he definitely is going to win it. How many MVPs would that be for him? 4? I would give Jonathan Taylor 2. I would put him at 2. And number 3, you could probably put a couple different people here, but I'll probably say Tom Brady at number 3. He still had a great season, and at 44 years old, man, I don't think we'll ever see anything like it ever again. Offensive Player of the Year, I definitely say goes to Jonathan Taylor. I think Cooper Kupp could be up for consideration for that as well. He's had an amazing season. But I think Jonathan Taylor wins Offensive Player of the Year. Everything that he's been to that Indianapolis offense. And Indy, too, with them struggling early on in the season. And them really making shift and turning things around kind of the middle part of the, past that first quarter of the year. Good stuff. I think in terms of Coach of the Year, you could probably put a few guys in there. Zach Taylor, you can maybe put in there simply just because the leap from last year to this year. I think that, he could be an honorable mention. I think Bill Belichick should be in there simply because really what he's done with a rookie quarterback and, that defense really kind of coming together and being probably the best defense this season. And we know the Patriots went out this offseason and made some signings that they usually don't typically do. But it's not like these signings were like these crazy splash play signings. So just really for the defense to really come together like that and really build off of each other and really be that good is impressive. I think number 1's going to be Mike Vrabel, though. He's kept that Tennessee team together through injuries, through the Derrick Henry injury, through the current number 1 seed. I think he's probably going to get that. Comeback Player of the Year, Dak Prescott, could be mentioned. Who else? I have to kind of sit and think, but I think Joe Burrow's Comeback Player of the Year. He's had a great season, great second year, 33 touchdowns. I'm not sure on his yards, but I'm sure he's probably around 4,400 yards or something like that. Leading the Bengals to the AFC North. He's electric, really fun to watch. I really liked him coming out of LSU. And just because I don't like the Bengals, I am a fan of Joe Burrow. I do enjoy watching him play. So I give a lot of respect to him. I say he wins Comeback Player of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year, again, you can probably put a few guys in there. I think Myles Garrett will get some consideration. Aaron Donald, I honestly don't think he's probably not going to be in the top 3. He won it again last year. Trayvon Diggs, I mean, he's got 11 interceptions, but I mean, he gives up a lot of yardage, man. Micah Parsons, I would probably put at 2. He'll definitely win Defensive Rookie of the Year. I'm going to put him at number 2. He's had a great rookie season. And it's crazy to think they start him at inside and just what he's done in terms of getting to the quarterback, man, and making plays. I think he's got 11 or 12 sacks, and he hasn't even been an edge rusher the full season and playing on the edge like that to get to the quarterback. I put him at 2. TJ Watt, I'm going to put at number 1. I think what TJ Watt's done this year, and just in terms of as well doing those things through injuries throughout the season and even accomplishing what he's done and really missing the last 2 games and missing really a couple games early on. The Raiders, he barely played the first quarter, and then since I don't think he played the Cincinnati game or the Green Bay game, whatever, and just really accomplishing all that in the amount of games he's played is just so impressive. I think he should be Defensive Player of the Year. And I think all those are fair. I think those are pretty fair evaluations. But let me know in the comments section your award predictions, guys. Let me know in the comments section who you think might go to the Super Bowl. Who, your playoff predictions. Let me know, because there's a lot of things, that we can kind of talk about. But it's going to be an interesting offseason. What I'm going to do, obviously, kind of after playoff time, or if things even happen during playoffs. But what I'm going to do come playoff, or really after playoff time, man, we're just going to kind of go over teams and, moves they've currently made. It'll be an offseason galore for the NFL. The NFL offseason is always a lot of fun. But also some quick news, too. And thank God for this. And I know if you're a Bears fan, you're happy. Matt Nagy, it's pretty much confirmed, is going to be his final game in Chicago next week. Now, some other teams I could see moving on from their coaches. Mike Zimmer, I think, is gone from Minnesota. I think his welcome's kind of been there. I think Minnesota will move into a different direction and not really accomplishing anything these last 2 years either. His time's done. Jacksonville's going to be looking for a new coach. Carolina's going to be looking for a new coach. I think the Giants are going to move on from Joe Judge, or maybe they might give him one more year. But he hasn't accomplished anything so far. And look, I'm all for, whenever teams hire a coach, I'm all for committing and not just firing somebody after one season or 1 or 2 years. But it really depends on the situation at times, too. So I could see the Giants looking for a new coach. Who else we got? The Raiders going to be looking for a new coach. I said Jacksonville will be. Houston, I think they probably stick with their guy until they can kind of really start to build something and see how he does. Pete Carroll will be interesting too. Will Pete Carroll retire? Will Pete Carroll be fired? I don't know. Seattle could be looking for a new coach. Who else we got? I think that might be really it in terms of, coaching vacancies or people getting fired. So, I don't know. I think this NFL offseason, I always love the NFL offseason. But I'm excited to talk about, because this is going to be the first NFL offseason that I've been on, that I've had this podcast for. So I'm really excited to create content and put content out there in terms of, news, things that's going on, things that could happen, dissecting things, dissecting what teams could be doing, even going in the draft. So there's just a heads up, once we start hitting into, kind of March and April, late February, there's going to be some good content on here, folks. So kind of keep out for that. Keep a lookout. But we're going to end the podcast there. We've gone 27 minutes. I just kind of wanted to talk about the playoff picture, what I think is how it's going to be, who I think is going to advance the Super Bowl, award predictions, and just kind of talk about a couple things that came out of Sunday's game. And it's funny because, as I talked about the 3 teams that already got eliminated yesterday. Cleveland, this is the 3rd straight year where I was told Cleveland was winning the Super Bowl. What happened? I knew going this year, I was kind of with everybody. I really thought Cleveland was going to kind of even take a leap even more forward. But I'm not surprised. And if you're a Browns fan, you're probably not surprised. But it's going to be really interesting what they do with Baker Mayfield. They're going to give him a contract extension. They're going to move on from him. I don't know. And to be fair, Baker was hurt this season. But it's still them really only winning. What's their record? Well, considering how tonight goes, they've won 7 games. Or are they 7-8? It's still very underwhelming if you're a Browns fan. Very disappointing. So it'll be an interesting offseason and in terms of, too, what they do with Baker Mayfield. But that Chiefs-Cincinnati game and just Joe Burrow going off again. Watch out for Cincinnati, man, because they're going to build off of this season. However they finish the year, they're going to build off this going into free agency, going into the draft. And they're really kind of in position to where what they've been trying to get to. So just keep an eye out for them, man. I tip my hat to them. And for Bengals fans, this is what they've been waiting for too. I don't know. It's going to be a very fascinating offseason. It really is with the Cardinals. What do you do with the Cardinals? If the Cardinals lose in the first round of the playoffs, obviously choke the division, what do you do with Cliff Kingsbury? I'm not a fan of him. He was my number one concern going into the season for the Cardinals. If the Cardinals lose in the first round and choke the division, I could see them keeping him again just simply because the leap they took from last year. But he's a major concern to the organization. And I would, if they keep him, you keep him one more season. That's it. Kyler Murray struggled a lot this second half of the year. I don't know what's going to happen with them. But I've always kind of liked the Cardinals too, and especially living out. I did live in Arizona as well. So even though I'm not a Cardinals fan, I still think it's cool when they do well. And I was a big fan of Larry and Kurt Warner too, Anquan Bolden, guys like that. So I still want to see them do well, but I think Cliff Kingsbury is the biggest concern there. What's going to happen with Russell Wilson in this offseason as well? Is he going to get traded? Is he going to stay? Pete Carroll? I don't know. And there's going to be a lot of other topics to talk about going in the offseason and things we're going to cover. So if you haven't hit the subscribe button, folks, hit that sub button, hit the thumbs up. It really helps out with the channel because I'm just trying to continue to expand this, and that's what we're doing. So I know we're still a young channel, a channel in its early stages, so I'm just trying to grow this 1 week at a time, folks. But I always appreciate and thank you for all tuning into the show, taking the time out of your day to tune in, and it's always appreciated. So I'm just trying to continue to reach sports fans as much as I can, and that's what we're going to keep doing. So, but thank you all for the support. I won't be back tomorrow because my work schedule, I'm not going to have time. But keep an eye out for content, maybe Wednesday or Thursday, depending on news or what goes down. We'll for sure be back on Saturday. We know there's some games Saturday, so we'll have to see. I'll post on my Facebook. If you follow me on social media, guys, follow my Facebook page at In Heintz Site. Follow me on Twitter, Nate_Heintz, Instagram, Nathan_Heintz. Keep up with all things in the channel. If you want to interact with me, anything like that, I always love talking and interacting with everybody. But we'll see. We'll see what this week holds in terms of the schedule. Like I said, no Tuesday. Try to put maybe some content out there Wednesday or Thursday. We'll see what happens, and we'll try for Saturday as well. We'll see what happens. So I have other stuff going on, but I will keep everybody up to date. But I wanted to come on here, talk about those things, take advantage of being able to come here on a Monday. So thank you all so much, and we will see you sometime this week or weekend. All right, guys, enjoy your Monday. Enjoy the rest of your week. We'll see you soon.